Okay, welcome to my therapy session. As you know, anybody that's been following me, I'm being sued by my HOA, and I'm supposed to be in court on the 6th of June next month. I'm not a lawyer. I'm trying to defend against these charges on my own, and I've found out that there's no way that I can meet the deadlines that the judge has given me. I'm like fourth down and 35 to go, and I'm on my own 15-yard line. I have to punt. And this is an admission to the lawyers who are bringing the lawsuit for the HOA against me, that I'm more or less volunteering. I've told you before, this is going to be sent to the lawyer. But we're looking at Exhibit B in the lawsuit. And I want to show you that this is the deed. This is the deed that came with my house. Okay, and if you indulge me here, special warranty deed. And you see, they're using a hybrid deed, formatted paper. Meritage Homes of Arizona Corporation, formerly known as okay? So you've got two people, or two association, two declarants, do hereby convey to Seward Lasham, an unmarried man, the following real property situated in County of Maricopa, State of Arizona, together with all privileges appurtenant thereto, to wit, whatever that means. Privileges appurtenant thereto, to wit. See Exhibit A. Okay, I'm going to read you. Attached A, subject to current taxes, assessments, reservations, in patents, and all easements, rights of way, encumbrances, liens, covenants, conditions, restrictions, obligations, and liability as may appear of record. And the grantor hereby binds itself to and its successors to warrant and defend the title as against all acts of the grantor herein and no other, subject to the matter set forth herein and no other. Okay? The grantor its successors. The grantor hereby binds itself and its successors to warrant and defend the title as against all acts the grantor herein and no other, subject to the matter set forth and herein. This was Scott Keith. Again, we have this hybrid. This was on the 28th of August, 2004. For my house on lot 316. Right here it says, I pay dues to the successors. The grantor binds itself and its successors to warrant and defend the title against all acts of the grantor herein. All right? that says that the HOA became the successor to the grantor. I paid dues with the HOA. I had to join the HOA to buy the house. It's like a union closed shop. You don't have a choice. Okay? Now, I'm paying dues to the HOA. I've been paying dues to the HOA for 19 years. They're supposed to guarantee everything that's of record. Now, let's see if I can. That was Exhibit B in the lawsuit. Okay? That's the deed. He wanted to make sure that it's my house. That's right, it is. But, so I'm going to go now. And what was officially before the Exhibit A was this September 2002 Greg Hancock president. Okay? Exhibit 1 was all the CC&Rs of 2002. A 22-year-old CC&R that was brought into this into this lawsuit. Okay? The lawyer Trevor Ash used a 22-year-old CC&R, and there are so many CC&Rs, but I want to get through, and I'm wasting time here. I'm doing this for the first time, but this right here, I made this video probably 12 years ago. This is a letter. This is a decertification letter and job order that was written to the Sundance HOA from the senior engineer for the town of Buckeye, Woody Scouten. I'm going to stop this for a minute. There's a logo over here under my picture. You can't see it. Maybe you can. Can I pull it down? I can't do anything. This is a video I made. I'm going to let myself continue talking, but this letter that I'm about to play for you, the video, please be patient and listen to the end. But this letter was sent to the HOA on February 27th, 2012. You can't see it. There's a Town of Buckeye logo and the date, but it was sent to the HOA. Now I'm going to try to be patient and sit here, and it's going to take a couple minutes for you to listen to this, but this is what triggered all my problems with the HOA for the last 19 years, at least the last 12 years. This was February of 27th, over 12 years ago. The result of this letter was because I went to Craig Hustis' office with plat maps, pictures, documents, and Craig Hustis, I convinced him that I thought we had a problem with Tract A and Parcel 12 as a drain. So Craig Hustis went and got Woody Scouten, and Woody Scouten came out. And Woody Scouten, because he has a career, I don't know if he's licensed as a contractor, but he does have a career. He does have a reputation. He was trying to protect his reputation. And in the aircraft industry, we cover this letter that he wrote to the HOA, a cover your ass letter. This is called a cover your ass letter. Once he came out as a licensed professional and he saw that the tract had been filled in, he had to write it up. He had to. It's just like an airplane mechanic. When they're charged as an airplane mechanic, no matter if it's your plane, somebody else's plane, or whatever, if you, as an airplane licensed FAA mechanic, see anything on an airplane anywhere that you consider unairworthy, you have to write it up. Whether you're assigned to the plane or not. You know that plane is unairworthy, you have to write it up. Or lose your license. If the FAA comes along and goes, did you see that that panel was off? Or that panel wasn't attached correctly? Or that there had been damage on the airplane after a maintenance truck or a service truck? You noticed damage on the airplane and you didn't write it up because it wasn't your airplane? We're going to pull your license. That's what a cover your ass letter is. Now, if you would be patient and listen, I'm going to try to be patient. This is the audio is bad, but I'm reading the letter for what it says, okay? This is going to take a while, so please be patient. This is very important information.
It was originated February 27th, 2012. Attention, Miss Pat Pence Young. Regarding Sundance Parcel 12, Tract A, Drainage Channel. Dear Miss Pence Young, it has come to my attention that a drainage channel that was originally constructed within Tract A of Parcel 12 within the Sundance Master Plan community has been filled in with dirt and landscaped such that the channel cannot perform its function as a drain for stormwater runoff originating within the subdivision. Please see attached map. This channel is intended to work in conjunction with the catch basin and pipe that extends through Tract A to convey stormwater runoff from the subdivision to the golf course. This stormwater function is critical because homes and lots adjacent to Tract A could be damaged if the stormwater cannot exit the subdivision to the golf course through Tract A as originally designed and constructed. The town is in possession of certified as-built plans and an aerial photograph that show that the channel was constructed along with original construction of Parcel 12. The date of the as-built plans is January 13th, 2003. Since that time, someone has caused the channel to be filled with dirt and landscaped. The channel must be restored to its original functionality in accordance with the original approved construction plans as soon as possible. The following note on the cover sheet of the Parcel 12 final plat requires the Homeowners Association to take responsibility for restoring the channel. Quote, a homeowners association, including all lot owners, shall be formed and have the responsibility of maintaining all common areas noted as tract, landscaped areas, and drainage facilities in accordance with the approved plans. A copy of the final plat cover sheet is enclosed herein. And Woody leaves his contact information there. Sincerely, Woody Scouten, Development Services Director, Town Engineer. Attached to this letter are these three names. I am sure that they were supporting and they concur with Woody's opinion that the channel is non-compliant. And those three members, or three names, are Council Member Craig Eustace, Stephen Cleveland, Town Manager, and Scott Ruby, Town Engineer. This is the aerial photograph he sent, and there's track day highlighted. And he also sent along the final plat, page 1, Sundance Parcel 12. And he highlighted the note that he quoted in his letter.
Okay. There it is. This was written in February of 2012. And so I started doing some due diligence. Okay. Get out of here. Come on. All right. I started doing some due diligence. Okay. And let me find but what happened is I'm trying to keep a good presentation going and it's not working. Maybe if I do this, this is a picture of the track, and we're going to go year by year. Every time I click on, we're going to have another year. Okay, this isn't an advancing, but that's what it looked like from the satellite. When I got this letter, I called up Maricopa County Flood Control. Buckeye is in Maricopa County. And a fella from Maricopa County Flood Control went to the satellite like this. He had the plat map. He got on the satellite. I identified track day as what it is right here. And for some reason, this thing isn't moving along like it should. So I can't show you year for year, but when Woody Scouting came out, this is what he saw. This was all filled in. And from standing right here, he was looking at a tree that was 19 inches above the sidewalk, and it was right in the middle of the drainage track. And he saw that the drainage track had been filled in, destroyed. What that meant for me, who lives over here in this house, is that they changed the point of entry for any water that would back up in a pipe. You got to understand there's a 24-inch drainage pipe running right down underneath this tract. And there's supposed to be an open water channel over the pipe. They filled it in. the reason they filled it in is to stop any traffic going through here. Pedestrian, golf cart. These two people that bought in on this house and this house were more or less given forever and ever. This common area, Tract A common area, they were given it as an extra addition to their lot. An entitlement with free water, free landscaping, and the easement, which is 2,800 square feet, is tax-free. All right, they made it so it wouldn't drain. For the water to get out of the neighborhood over this tract, it had to defeat 19.5 inches in 29 feet. The base of this tree was 29 feet from the manhole cover right here in the middle, and 19.5 inches. Right over here, between my house with my water levels, I only measured 9 inches above the manhole cover. I was about 55 feet away, and I'm not only 9 inches above. And my whole lot was lower in elevation than the access easement that was supposed to be there, the open water channel. This is why Woody Skelton covered his ass by writing the letter. Now, if I can get out of this, and now, I immediately, being an adult and understanding that my house, after I did the surveying with my water levels, I went from here to the tree with my water levels, I went from here to that house, garage with my water levels, I went to this house with my water levels. I mapped it all out with my water levels. And I'm going to start going through these letters one at a time. This is all me buying. I had to go out and buy FEMA flood insurance. The first thing I did is go to, okay, this is a letter that I had to send back to FEMA. I had FEMA flood insurance for a year. I paid almost $400 for it, on top of my State Farm policy. When I went to State Farm, I talked to this fella named Brent Huddleston. I explained the situation. He said, "You don't have flood insurance, but you can buy flood insurance through FEMA." Now I'm going to go through these letters. This is more at the end of it. This is what when I sent in a whole bunch of paper package, FEMA challenged me. Okay, FEMA challenged me. Here's a map. Okay, they sent me a letter when it came time to to send in the second premium, and I lost it. Damn, where is it? Here it is. This isn't easy, folks. I hope you're patient with me. This isn't easy. This is a letter from Maricopa County. It describes my property. This was research I had to do. What's the date on this? It was the 4th of September 2012. So the 4th of September 2012, or it was, yeah, 4th of September is when I went to and applied for the Flood control. And I'm going to learn how to do this. All right. This is my FEMA policy, a check I sent in on February 14th. This $1,414. Current coverage $390. Increased coverage. They had to increase, so it became $414 I paid. And that was in 20 February of 14. So I carried FEMA flood insurance for 2 years. Now if I can go back without getting a foul here, how do I do this? I have to keep going back here. Okay, this is applying for it. You couldn't get it through AAA. He set up the policy and I went through with it and I paid for it. But what I'm getting to is this was $313. What was the date? The date was, give me a second. The date was September 4th, 2012. Okay, $313. Eventually I will find what I'm looking for here. There's the policy. I had a policy. This is all $313. What was the date on this? September 21, 2013. So what happened was they sent me a letter after having, and I'm about to get to that letter right now. Bill, FEMA letter. This is the letter that FEMA sent to me that got my head spinning. Okay, so this was January 29, 2013. And because I live in a planned community and we have I was flood insurance because the channel that was supposed to be in my neighborhood got filled in. And when I had my hands on Woody Scouten's letter, I had a letter from a town engineer that told me that your drainage channel that's going to save you if that pipe ever gets clogged up or fails is missing. So this letter was written to the agency that wrote the policy out here, State Farm. And they wanted to know what's in this letter, more or less, is why is this guy buying flood insurance? How come with the address he has, why is he buying flood insurance? I can do a synopsis on it right now. All this was they sent and they wanted to know. Okay, let's see if if the documentation is not received within 30 days of the date of this letter, a renewal offer will be made using the NFIP standard rating. They had to figure out the premium, how much a renewal offer will be calculated as same coverage limits previously carried. Customer standard rated premiums can be, all right. But that was the letter that started me on a quest. All right. And there they had readjusted the bill. The date of this bill was February 27th, 2014. Not only did I send in the premium, but I had to send in all kinds of maps. Okay? One after another. I did a lot of running around for about a week trying to answer this letter. State Farm let me know, we got a problem and they want all this information. So, I had to send them maps. There's one. There's my street. Okay? There's the house. My house right here that I'm insuring. There's the access easement that's filled in. It doesn't drain. Let me go back. I'll get another map. I had to 10. Map 1. Map 2. Here's I-10. Here's Watson Road. Okay, here's Sundance Parkway. Or this is Watson Road here. Watson Road. Sundance Parkway. Okay. Go back. Here's another map. Shadow Drive. I mean, it was ridiculous what I had to do to keep the insurance going. There it is again. I had to send this in. And that first letter, and here I've got my house outline. But FEMA wanted to know you're in a planned neighborhood. There's no flooding in your neighborhood. If your neighborhood was built right with a open water channel that worked, I had a letter saying that the open water channel was out of service. It had been filled in. FEMA was under the influence that this had been built right. If it had been built right, you have no business buying flood insurance. Your neighborhood is already flood proofed. The 24-inch drain that goes right down the middle of this access easement, it says you're backed up. You don't have to worry about a flood. But I did. I was the only adult. If anything would have happened, a flood, 100-year storm, anything that would have backed up this drain, the water, I had already surveyed it. The water was going to go through here first. It was going to take, and another thing, during all this, that's when they had that storm in Anthem, where they got like 2 or 3 feet of water that went through a neighborhood and it wiped houses off the foundation. And nobody got blamed. If the builder was doing something wrong or did something wrong, it was declared an act of God. If you can believe that. Houses got destroyed up in Anthem. Whether the drainage was right or wrong, nobody got blamed because they considered it an act of God. Okay? That storm was an act of God. I'm trying to get across to you, I was the adult in the room. That letter was sent to the HOA in February of 2012. I carried flood insurance for 2 years. They didn't dig this out until August of 2013. A year and a half later, and they did a cob job, what we call in the airline industry a cob job. Okay? They didn't do it right. The channel still isn't right. Here's the last map, another map I had to send. And the thing of it is, I was running around. I went to AAA, I went to State Farm, I went to Brett Huddleston, and he goes, it's out of my hands. It's out of my hands. Now, the check I sent in for my payment. Here's the certified letter. Here's what I paid for it. Here's a receipt. I think it was $11 to send all this in 12 years ago. And if we go back, green card. There's the return receipt that I sent. Flood Service Center, P.O. Box 29, Shawnee, Missouri. Shawnee Mission, Kansas. All right. This is what I had to go through. And this was an extra expense that I had to pay for. This is the address I sent it to me. They sent me a form. This was above and beyond for me. Now, when the lawyer in this lawsuit puts down that I should be paying for all the lawsuit, now I'm trying to punt. Like I said, I'm going to send this to the lawyer, Trevor Ash, and say, there's no way I can meet the deadlines. There's no way I can meet the deadline of May 23rd. And you didn't call me for 3 weeks. Even though the judge had me, and I in good faith gave the lawyer my number, it took the lawyer 3 weeks to call me. Now, we've only got, 11 days between the 23rd and now? 12 days? I don't have nearly the time to do this. I don't have a legal staff. I don't have 7 or 8 other lawyers in my group that I can bounce ideas off. I don't have legal secretaries. I'm using an antique printer. My house is a mess. It's all disheveled. It's got piles of paperwork all over the place. Paperwork similar to this that justifies what I had to go through because they filled in Tract A. Like I said, this was an expense. It was something that caused me stress. It was about around $800 for 2 years that I had to carry it until they dug out the cob job. And I've got a lawyer right now that wants to take me to the cleaners. He's looking to take me to the cleaners. They want me to pay all the expenses. Now, I don't do very good at this, and anybody that sticks with me for the sake of curiosity, I'm going to find our tract, if I can find it, which one is ours. Let's just go through these real quick. And I'm doing this for the lawyer. I often talk about this finished floor elevation. This was dropped 2.5 inches. This one's down 1.5 inches. These are the first 2 pads that were laid in parcel 12, and they were laid wrong. I have the permit for this pad. I have the plans for the master plans, the master CCNR, and this is out of compliance. They lowered it 3 inches. 2.5 inches. It's 3 inches now. Okay. This is a little later on in development. Okay, this is Tract A from the golf course side, and it's all filled in. These are all succulents. And all these plants, the tree, we paid for the water. And they took it out of service. And it didn't drain. There's a crown right here. And there's a ditch over here next to this house. All the water that comes off this roof could not run into tract A because they had to run uphill to get in the middle of tract A. This tree right here was 29 feet from the sidewalk and 19 and a half inches above the sidewalk. There's that ditch along my 317's house. Here's the middle of the track, and it runs downhill. And all the water that comes off this roof is routed to the back of the property. Here's another one that got filled in. This is real early. There it is again. That tree is 19 inches above the sidewalk, and it's only 29 feet away. That tree right there might be about 6 or 7 years old, and look how big it is. And all these plants are being watered by the community, and we don't have use of it. Now here's one that's over off of the first tee. That's off the first tee, hole number 1, and that's built correctly. Those people should sleep good at night. They don't have to buy flood insurance. And here, this is why I bought flood insurance for 2 years, because the water couldn't get out of the parcel. The only way it was going to get out of the parcel was over my lot. Here's another one they butchered. Having these right here is another way of taking the common area out of service. You can't drive a golf cart there. They make it difficult to walk there. These people were gifted an entitlement. These lots on each side of this tract are some of the biggest lots in the parcel. Their parcel. Anywhere there was a common area that was supposed to be a golf cart tract, a emergency ingress, it was supposed to be a multi-use, highest and best use. Well, wherever somebody bought a house and they didn't want to see golf carts, they put mailboxes and plugged up the track with mailboxes. Gamesmanship. Okay? And there was some of the flooding I dealt with. This was a very early, this is before I ever started excavating. Right here, 75 feet of eave. I've since put up gutters. I've put up gutters all around. But right here, my neighbor dumping water in between my houses, and there it is. That's called retention on a residential lot. You can't put retention on a residential lot. The water there goes to die. There it is again. This is what they sold me. And I spent a lot of time and money diffusing this. But I wanted to show you what I had to go through, the blood, sweat, and tears, and the stress, and the money I spent on FEMA flood insurance. And like I said, when that letter come to Brent Huddleston, he let me know. And when I asked him, he says, it's out of my hands. All I do is sell you the policy. Here's the 1-800 number. Call them up. And that's what I had to do. But right here, this was the lowest elevation in all of parcel 12. This over here was supposed to be the lowest elevation in parcel 12. It was supposed to be lower than right here by about 1.5 feet. But it was superior in elevation to mine, and if we would have had any kind of a flood event where the water had to leave the parcel because the pipe backed up, it was going to go right through here. Right through here. That was the new ultimate outflow elevation. And this right here, they're always talking about restore your lot, restore your lot, restore your lot. I can't restore the lot. The lot was built wrong. I have to have an engineer come out here and tell me, you see this line of plants right there? That's 3 feet high. 3 feet high. You've seen it in other videos. I've done the math for you. Okay? But this tree wasn't here when I bought the lot. They put that there after I bought it to ruin my view. And they don't trim it. Neither one of this tree or this tree ever gets trimmed. And this tree, if they trim it, they only trim it to keep the limbs from overhanging the sidewalk. Now, let me go with, if I can find some other pictures. Let's go cruise through these pictures. Oh. I'm going to stop here. But I wanted to show you. The lawyer wants to take me to the cleaners. He wants me to pay for all the legal fees. The court fees, the legal fees. He's even asked the judge to penalize me to the highest, the most extreme that he can penalize me to. But this is evidence. I'm going to put it on YouTube. Maybe some people out there will understand, but I was the only adult in the room. All right. When I got that letter from Woody Scouting saying it was plugged up, and that houses could be damaged. And I wrote for a year. I wrote letters to Woody Scout and I wrote letters to the HOA. I had quite a bit of communication going back and forth as to when are you going to fix this? When are you going to dig this out? And as I said in the video I made last week when I cornered Pat Pence Young, she was here during the time. After a year, when she told me we've done nothing, she sent me letters for a year. Woody Scouten sent me letters for a year. I was getting letters from the HOA saying we're studying it. We've got engineers looking into it. They did nothing. And one day, around 2013, the end of 12, the beginning of 13, I was able to get Pat Pence Young in a meeting, and what she did is she looked me straight in the face and she couldn't be dishonest with me. She couldn't be dishonest looking into my face, and she told me we've done nothing. And a month later I got arrested for walking on the easement. I did some civil disobedience. I put the plat map in my pocket and I started walking the access easement, and on the 5th day that I walked it, I got arrested for missing a court date that I never knew about or I never got served. They couldn't arrest me for walking on the easement because I had a plat map there that says it was an access easement. But it was considered by the HOA, by the town of Buckeye, by the board of directors, by my neighbors, by everybody that I was provoking my neighbors. I was the first one to challenge my neighbors. Up to that point, my neighbors, if they caught anybody walking on track day, they would immediately let them know this isn't a walking easement. You stay off this property. It isn't supposed to be walked on. And there was no way they were going to drive golf carts on it. Okay? There it is. Everybody's worried about me restoring. I need an engineer to come out here and recognize that this property line is over 3 feet high. It is. This property line is over 3 feet high. They didn't build it per the plans. And my house got lowered 2.5 inches. So they raised this 3 feet and they lowered my house 2.5 inches over a 35 to 40 foot span. And now living out on my property line with my chairs, the ladies down on the ladies' tee don't like having me within earshot of their tee box now. Even though I'm on my property, within my property line. Oh, and another thing, the golf course puts their out of bounds marker right on my property line. So I'm out of bounds for the golf course. The golf course doesn't have its own out of bounds. It uses my lot for out of bounds. But I'm going to stop now. And for anybody who watches my videos and comments on my videos, and they're not easy to watch. I mean, I'm sure you got better things to do than watch these videos, but if you're in an HOA and you're going through a similar situation, I'm being sued. I've got a $100 lien that started 1.5 years ago on my house. It's up to over $55,000. Plus, I'm being sued by a lawyer that doesn't really understand the history of what I've been going through. And that's why I made this video for that lawyer. Before you start talking to me about me covering the cost of what you did for the HOA, how about somebody covering my cost? How about somebody covering my cost? My cost for flood insurance from FEMA, my cost for renting a tractor, my cost for putting pipes in, my cost for putting gutters on my house, my cost for putting new air conditioning on my house, my cost for putting a ceiling fan in the attic that will cool the house, my cost for putting solar panels, $15,000 on the house, and air conditioning. All these are costs that I had to do to make my lot correct. And the most idiotic thing that you can tell me to do is to restore my lot, the drainage and the grading to what it was. Until we get an engineer from the Buckeye out here to admit that, yeah, we lowered your house, and what I'm asking for, and I hope this gets to the mayor of Buckeye, the attorney general, all the people who hold a position in Buckeye. Somebody step up and own this. Somebody man up from the second floor in Monroe Street where all the engineers are. Somebody step up, man up. I don't care if you were the one that did it 20 years ago or the person that did it, you know, is dead now. The person that called for this to be changed. How about somebody manning up and letting me out of here? Instead of making me pay all kinds of fines and penalties and liens that keep me from selling my house, why don't somebody from Buckeye, civil engineering, or the HOA step up and own this? Step up and be a man about it. All you cowboys that wear your 6 guns on your side out here in Buckeye, and you're so proud of your Stetson hats, and you're so proud of your rodeos and all your other shit out here, you're a cowboy heaven. You call it cowboy heaven. You screwed an outsider. All right? And now you're trying to get it so I can't even sell my house. No realtor will come near me. I tried to sell my house for 10 years, and honestly, and whoever gets this house is never going to hear the end of it. If you foreclose and take my house and auction it off, or you make it so where I can't sell it without paying a huge penalty in equity, I've already paid it. I've been paying it for 19 years. I've been paying fines, dues, sidewalk assessment, taxes, everything, only to be the foul ball territory for the golf course. And during that time, when I found out that my house was built out of compliance with the finished floor elevation and that my lot was all out of compliance as far as the drainage geometry, I've had nothing but trouble from the HOA. Every time I do something to my lot, I don't dare go to the post, go and check my mail. And every letter they sent me, instead of sending me registered mail, return receipt that I have to sign for their letter, that they know I received the letter, they send out letters for 52 cents. They don't know if I got them or not. They have no proof that I had knowledge of a fine. They put a 52-cent letter in the mail and said, we're done. We don't have to worry about it. He's been notified. No, I haven't. This was a judgment put against me by the HOA. They went into executive session. 6 or 7 people with a young lawyer. And they violated all my rights as a member. They've treated me like the red-headed stepchild of the HOA over here. I don't talk to my neighbors. The lawyer the other day asked me if I had witnesses. Anybody that would have supported me has deserted me. And I don't talk to my neighbors. My neighbors are election deniers. That's another thing about my HOA. My HOA has had every election denier in the state as a guest speaker. I'm known as an anti-Trumper. I've been an anti-Trumper since before The Apprentice. I lived in New York. I was 2 years younger than Trump. I've been watching him for 40 years. He's a crook, a shyster, a con man. And all you gullible white supremacists from the Midwest who are addicted to The Apprentice, you got taken in. But I wanted to make this video. It's going on YouTube. Some people are watching them. Last night I made a video. I thought it was one of the shittiest videos I ever made, and people are watching it. So, again, a warning to anybody. Do not ever get involved with an HOA. You've got egos, frail egos. You've got people that when they get in the executive session, they start taking out contempt, jealousy, envy, political polarity. My biggest problem here is I won't come and swill the Kool-Aid in this neighborhood. I've been paying tribute to the people who live on each side of Tract A for 19 years. 3 houses. It's called the craft of graft. The craft of graft. I ran into the craft of graft out here 19 years ago. These people out here in Buckeye who know each other and grew up together, along with the builder, decided that you're not going to get what you paid for. You're going to pay tribute to the people who live on each side of Tract A. It isn't going to be available to you. And we're going to make your lot the new drain. Now, either you see this in the video or you don't, but I'm going to stop now. And like I said, I really appreciate anybody who is watching these videos, who is concerned. But the judge, an Arizona judge, gave me a deadline. And there's no way I can make it. So this video is made for the public, for the attorneys. I wish you would have called me 3 weeks earlier. We could have started working on resolving this. But don't expect me to pay your legal fees when I've already paid thousands of dollars and thousands of hours invested fixing up something that I had nothing to do with. My whole lot is out of compliance. That's why I request a lawyer. Bring a town engineer. Bring a town engineer who will man up and own this. Somebody from Buckeye, step up. You threw me in jail for missing a court date. I've got a record now. All right. I've also got an 800 credit rating. I've had it for a long time. Somebody man up, come out here and own this. Say, yeah, we did it to you. We admit that we screwed your lot up. And you've done Herculean task. You've gone above and beyond. And I quit. I'm not going to put another dime in this house. I had pride of ownership when I was fixing all these drainage. And all that did was give the HOA just cause to send me letters for 52 cents that were vague, ambiguous. They were fishing. They sent me fishing letters. Like I said, anybody who is in aircraft maintenance would understand. My house, if anybody is an aircraft pilot or a mechanic or a flight crew, come and buy my house. Any airline mechanics out there, any airline pilots, any flight crew who are used to what we call minimum equipment list, MEL, minimum equipment list. I have a minimum equipment list sticker, an MEL sticker, over the front door of my house, saying your sewer pipes are messed up. You have reduced operational efficiency for your sewer pipes. They were built technically outside the spec. They were lowered, reducing their flow rate. Now, if you're a pilot or a mechanic or a flight crew who lived with that culture for, say, 30 years of your career, that when I told you your fuel gauge is reading 500 pounds high, it's in the logbook. So whenever you look at your fuel gauge, remember that it's reading 500 pounds high. That has to be told to a pilot. So I feel anybody that's going to buy this house has to be told you have degraded sewer pipes. They built a booby trap. Operationally, if you come in and buy this house for my price, I'm going to tell you, the sewer pipes are bad. Be careful. Don't throw parties. Don't use your garbage disposal. Don't use the dishwasher. Be careful what you flush down the toilets. And whatever you do, don't throw parties. Live a quiet, stoic life here, and you probably won't have any problems with the sewer pipes. But they're out of compliance. So like I said, your fuel gauge is reading 500 pounds high. So when it gets down to 500 pounds indication, you don't have any fuel left. It's an operational issue. Now, you young lawyers, you never worked in a safety program. You never worked. You never had a license that you could have taken away from you. And that story I told you about the FAA being able to pull your license, I had that told to me in a grilling by the by the FAA once. I had 3 FAA inspectors give me that hypothetical. If you were walking by an airplane that somebody else was working on, and you saw that one of the nav lights was out, and you knew the guy didn't see it, or he let it go, what's your responsibility? And you don't say to the FAA, well, it's his airplane, it's his responsibility. The FAA will get right in your face and go, anything you see on any airplane, whether it's your airplane or not, if you consider it airworthy, you have to do something. And if we ever find out that you looked at something that was unairworthy and you didn't do anything about it, we're going to come after your license. I'm sure the goons, the cowboys, the street engineers, the rednecks, the home growers that filled in Tract A weren't worrying about losing their license. They probably could hardly spell. They probably could hardly spell their name when they filled in Tract A. So as far as losing their license from a licensing agency, there was no risk. And when they got caught, when Woody Scouten wrote his letter, they found out that forgiveness is much easier to get than permission. Thank you for listening.